All right, sweet. Well, it's really nice to meet you. Thanks for doing this with me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, and thanks for introducing me to Blab.
Yeah, for sure. Wait, so this is your first time ever on Blab?
Yeah, I guess I'm old. I have no clue what Blab is.
No, it's brand new. It's like a brand new social media site or social networking site. And that guy Martin Shkreli or whatever, that guy
Yeah.
that like everybody hates. Well, he apparently got on here and then brought a ton of people over from like all of his social media accounts. It was like, I'm on this new thing called Blab, and so now it's been kind of blowing up. So
Okay.
that's
Well,
how people
cool.
know
No, I
about it.
like that. I like that I'm learning about this. So thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've only been on it like 10 days, but we were scheduling the Skype session, and I was like, I figured we could just do it on here instead. And then, it looks like we already have a couple people, listening in. So
Yeah, there's people watching live.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's some.
No, I know. But I know. I'm just
Yeah.
joking with you. So I have to say that the video that you sent over to us, I went over and checked out your YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I love everything that you were saying, but I love your enthusiasm and your energy behind it, and just the way that you present yourself. You're like really passionate about what you do, and that is what I find very attractive.
Yeah, totally.
I like working with people who are also as passionate as I am.
Yeah. Well, I stumbled across you because, as I've been growing my YouTube channel and I've been growing my company, Evolution Daily, I've been trying to find out who else is in the industry. And so I found you when I typed in dating advice for women, I think. And then I found you on a talk show. And you had done some talk show, and I didn't recognize the host or anything. But
It's Canadian, probably.
yeah, I forget exactly what it was. And even before the interview, I tried to find the original video that I had seen you in, and I couldn't find it anywhere. But I remember I reached out immediately to you because you had such a refreshing point of view in my mind. And what I'm referring to specifically was you were talking about how you feel as though most women are far too closed off when it comes to men approaching them.
Yes, absolutely.
So you were basically talking about how a lot of times, and I was looking for the video so I could get like your exact words on it because I didn't want to just summarize this because I knew we were going to talk about this right off the bat. But basically you were talking about how you felt as though oftentimes when a guy is approaching a girl at a bar, rather than giving him a chance, seeing what he's all about, seeing what he has to offer, the girl will immediately sort of like shut down on the guy. Do you think?
Oh, for sure. Even before a guy comes over and approach, they stop their opportunities countless times throughout the day. So let me just tell you a story. So I did this seminar in New York a while ago for a bunch of women, and I had never spoken for women before because with the Wing Girl method, I coach men how to understand women. So my audience isn't women. So I went for this seminar and I ended up talking to them for like an hour. I was only supposed to be on stage for 10 minutes or something. And they had so many questions about understanding men. And I didn't realize that women didn't understand men as much as men didn't understand women. Right. But there was this one woman who was in the audience who was sitting like this the entire time. And I remember I fixated on her for about a minute of my presentation. I was thinking, well, am I not getting across to her? Am I not giving her I got trapped in my head worrying about this moody person who may be miserable because of 10 other reasons that have nothing to do with me. Anyway, when the speech was over, we, went to lunch, had a lunch break, and tons of people came up to me and approached me. She was one of them. And she came up to me like this and said, I really liked your presentation. And I was like, you did? Well, I can't see that you like it. All I see is a huge frown, a scowl, and your arms crossed, your body language closed off from me. I said, let's try something. Uncross your arms, put a smile on your face, and unfrow your brow. And as soon as she did this, she became this like beautiful girl in front of me. And I said to her, what you were doing before is most likely the reason that men are not approaching you, because you're making it such a challenge. It's so difficult. They have no idea whether or not you're open to being approached. From your look right now, men think that girl is not going to say yes to me, and men will not get into anything that they don't have a chance of winning. So you're screwing yourself out of countless opportunities.
Yeah, I do stand-up comedy in Columbus, Ohio, actually, and it's funny that Yeah, it's funny that you say that because that's a commonality amongst all comedians. We always talk about how like the whole crowd can be laughing, but if there's that one guy sitting there in the front row and he's not laughing, you're like, why isn't he laughing? And you just focus on that. And that's something that I've actually learned over the years with pickup. I was watching one of your videos where you were talking about how a guy successfully picked you up. And you were bringing up this scenario where you and your friends had sat down by these guys, but then like this other guy came in. And one of the things that you had discovered was that he had a crazy self-development journey where like you guys were talking about that. And I'm kind of in that same boat. Like when I started discovering pickup changed everything for me because it was like, I used to just be like really, really overweight. Like I'm at about 170. Yeah, I'm at like 175 now. And I was at like 290 at one point. Yeah. It was like I'm not even kidding. It's pretty. Whoa. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm eventually gonna do like a whole like fitness video and stuff like that for Evolution Daily. But and so then when I discovered pickup, it was like I started changing everything else too because I find I figure out there's these guys out there that are teaching how to go up and approach women, and so then it was like well now I got to get this weight thing taken care of, and now I have to take care of all these other areas as well. And one of the big things was body language. And like you're basically talking about like this really closed off body language that a lot of people have. And that's one of the things that I talk to guys about, and I'm sure you probably talk to them about too, is when you're walking through any sort of a venue, like a club or during the day, it doesn't matter what the venue is, guys will typically walk through like closed up, like arms crossed, they'll have their hands in their pockets. Yeah, or even if they're sitting there, like you're making yourself small. Yeah. And so it's like it seems like that girl in the crowd, as well as like, guys when they're learning pickup, it's sort of just like an overall, identity level, like body language change almost that needs to happen.
Oh, for sure. And the body language change is really just opening yourself up. So I have this this TED Talk, Amy Cuddy it's up on my website. But she is a researcher. She's an introvert. She's kind of shy. And she was talking about how her and her team discovered this pose that any person can do. It's called the Wonder Woman pose, which is like literally just standing like this for 2 minutes. But it's really just open. Yeah. Just open body language. So for 2 minutes, if you stand like that, it can actually increase your testosterone levels and decrease your cortisol levels. So it decreases stress, increases your confidence levels. Yeah. So just by standing with open body language where everything is flowing out of you as opposed to being closed off, you not only help your mood, but you help the moods of others around you.
Yeah, I think I've seen that. Is that the same TED Talk where she talks about how if you're going to be going into any sort of a nervous situation, like a job interview, rather than sitting there on your phone, you should be like in the bathroom, like arms up and like really spread out. Yeah.
2 minutes, it'll like literally change your moods.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I've had to change my posture, and that's the thing too is like when you start learning success with women. And just like dating in general, then these other things start to come. I listened to your episode of so you're on the Ask Women network, or I'm sorry, your show is called Ask Women. It's on the Playboy network.
It is. It's also on iTunes, but yeah, it's through Playboy Radio. Yeah.
I listened to your interview with Vince Calvin.
Oh, what did you think?
Oh, it was awesome. I love Vince Calvin.
Yeah. He's amazing. He was amazing on the show. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of him. I think he's I actually have yet to see his CNN show, the Lisa Lang one.
Really good.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but I'm a part of a bunch of different Facebook groups that he's on. He's always got something really good to say. And one of the things that you guys really delved into was basically the idea that a lot of the times pickup is used as a conduit for self-development, essentially, because it's like you have to start bettering yourself in all areas. And in that video that I watched with you, where that guy like successfully picked you up or whatever, you were you basically the whole thesis of that video ended up being that you have to like demonstrate that inner core confidence. So I guess I just want to ask you, like, what do you say to guys when they come to you and they tell you, because you can basically just, the causation of approach anxiety is a lack of confidence. That's almost 100% of the time exactly what it is. It's a lack of entitlement and confidence in yourself. So what do you say to guys who they come to you and they say, like, I just cannot walk up to a girl. I know you're telling me what to do. You're telling me what to say. Like, how do you tell guys to get that inner core confidence required?
Well, the first thing that you have to do is you have to reframe your brain first. So if you keep telling yourself, I can't, you're never going to, and you won't be successful. The next thing that you do after you reframe the way that you think about it. So for example, if you're reframing, you have to catch yourself in the moment when you start having these thoughts of I can't. So if you give yourself the assignment to go out to a mall, right? For an hour at a time, where your goal is to approach 10 people. Your mind frame during that hour can't be that I can't approach anybody. Your mind frame and your mindset has to be, I can approach anybody, I'm going to, and for right now, I'm practicing, so their response doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah. So you can write that down so that you remember it. You can text it to yourself so you can see it if you get a moment where you start thinking the opposite way. But the first part is just noticing that you think in this negative direction and then reframing it for yourself, either saying it out loud or just saying it in your brain and then taking action. And the next step, the next baby step, is taking that action and just practicing and just work on it at the bare minimum. So for example, if you have approach anxiety with everybody, which most often guys who have approach anxiety with really hot women, they also have approach anxiety with approaching strangers. Mm-hmm. So they go to the very base level first, right? Where their goal is during that hour to approach 10 people and just say hi. Simple exercise, but for a lot of people who have extreme approach anxiety, it can be very challenging. For me, when I used to have extreme shyness and extreme approach anxiety, that exercise took me 2.5 hours to complete, to approach 10 people. And I was like a 20-year-old cute little girl who, you know, what was somebody going to do to me if I approached them, right? But in my mind, I was invading their space. They were going to hate me. I don't even really know the things that I was thinking in my head. I just thought that I wouldn't be accepted and what I was doing was super creepy. But I slowly saw from doing, and that's the only way to alter behavior is by just, you know, taking a leap and starting to do it.
Force of habit.
What I saw from doing was that people didn't punch me in the face. People didn't spit on my shoe. People actually like kind of wanted to talk to me a little bit. Yeah. So that was really interesting for me. And then I have in a couple of my programs, The Insider, How to Become a Man Woman Want, I have steps in the ladder. Like I have the first step you do, the second step, third step, fourth. So ways to build on this practicing regimen.
And where can people find that? That's at winggirlmethod.com, right?
winggirlmethod.com.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, well, I love what you're saying there too, because it's like you're essentially telling guys to sort of at the very beginning set your bar a little lower than what you know that you're eventually capable of achieving. I think that what happens a lot of the times, because I run boot camps in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Columbus, Ohio right now. That's the only place I've ever done live programs and everything. And I think that what happens in the pickup community is you become so immersed within it. You become so intimidated by Real Social Dynamics videos and Wayne dating and all these crazy videos. And even I have a couple like infield breakdown videos. You know, when you see so many guys that are out there and they're getting really crazy out in the field and they're pulling girls home, and when you watch this over and over and over again, you sort of develop this like it's almost like it's an confidence, but it's also just sort of like a self-consciousness about your own abilities. So like I've had actual conversations with guys who have like literally said to me, I don't want to approach until I know it's going to be perfect. So just let me get in my zone. And I say to these guys, I say that's completely anti what you need to be doing. What you need to be doing is throwing yourself into that fire in order to then like get into the zone where you're going to be able to approach more. One of my favorite, I don't even remember who said it, but one of my favorite quotes of all time is every success and every failure are equal bricks in my mansion. And so meaning that like if you can take that mindset and you understand like you use the example of the mall. When I go to the mall today, I'm going to make 10, 15, 20 approaches, whatever. And it does not matter, you brought up like the non-reactivity, it does not matter how they go. Either way, whether they're good or bad, they're going to make me better with women. They're going to make me better at pickup. And so it's like if you can go in and be willing to go through the blowouts, willing to, you know, escalate to the point of getting the phone number or whatever if you are at the mall, then it's like you're gonna eventually do it so often. I heard Owen Cook of Real Social Dynamics. He once said, "Pickup becomes something that you are, not something that you do."
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like,
absolutely. Like, what does Neil Strauss say? The best way to meet women is not by not trying to meet women.
oh, does he say that?
Something like that. I'm sure it's phrased much better, but yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like when you listen, you have to hyper focus in the very beginning. As you said, you're on lots of forums, you're on Facebook, you're getting research, you're collecting information right now. That's very similar to the practicing phase that you and I are both talking about. In the very beginning, while you're learning a new skill set, you're going to fumble, but you have to surround yourself with a lot of information, and you have to try to do each of these things that are being told for you to do. But after you try them, after you fail, after you succeed a couple of times, you start to figure out your own system, and then it becomes automated for you. So exactly like you said before, it's not like, you do pick up, you are just picking up a woman. And it becomes natural. But it does take practice to do a lot of these things, because for a lot of people, a lot of the instructions, a lot of the concepts of just basic conversation with another human being are very foreign to them because they haven't done that for so long. Yeah.
Now let me ask you this: so how long have you been doing the Wing Girl method? That's your business. When did you start getting into all of this, and how?
Okay, I've been doing this for 12 years. I think it's funny. Like after 10, I stopped counting. So I think it's 12 years.
Yeah.
I got into this by accident, but I've been a wing girl to my guy friends for my entire life. I've always been giving them like the real deal information on girls.
Yeah.
The difference now is that I actually have solid scientific information to back what I'm actually saying now. So about 12 years ago, I think, I happened to be at a singles mixer at a rabbi's house. Random.
Interesting. Sounds like the beginning of a really good joke.
Right, exactly. And nobody was talking to each other. So I started grabbing guys and I pulled them over to women, and I started the conversation for them, and I would advise them after on like, well, why it worked, why it didn't work. And by the end of the night, people were having fun. They were talking, they were flirting, they were exchanging phone numbers. One couple were making out with each other. So when I went home, I had said what a great night I had and that I wanted to be a wing girl. And that didn't exist back then. And my roommate told me that I was crazy and that men would never want advice from a woman on what women want. And I didn't agree with him. So I went into my room and I posted an ad on Craigslist. And the next morning I had over 75 responses. So I started from there. And now it's grown into a pretty large business, and I work with hundreds of thousands of men all over the world. Just really offering up the female perspective. Plus, I give them the tools, the skill sets, and a lot of the feedback they aren't getting from a lot of the male coaches that they're working with. Yeah,
it's funny that you say that. I'm glad that you went there with it. First of all, it sounds like you just had a genuine fascination with all of this, and so. It was like you were fascinated, and so then you started like just messing around with it like in a social setting, and then it was like, whoa, I think I could actually do this for like a living or something. And so that's pretty cool. So I actually have like this little list of like notes here I wanted to talk to you about, and one of them is actually advice from women. And the reason is because I was seeing this girl for a little while, and we're still kind of seeing each other, but it's beginning to phase out. And one day we were hanging out at a coffee shop, and I'm part of this like secret pickup group on Facebook. You can't find it. You have to be invited into it, whatever. And I told her to do me a favor. I said, write out like 10 pieces of advice that you would give to guys so I can post it on my group. And she wrote out,
right?
No. That's not where this is heading, actually.
Okay.
No, it was just very straightforward stuff. All it was, like, be confident. Don't try to
girl laugh.
Yeah, don't try to brag too much, all that kind of shit. And it was just very basic stuff. Well, I posted on the group, and all of a sudden, this big debate starts erupting up. You should never get pickup advice from a woman. Women don't understand the minds of men, and they can't teach you anything, blah, blah, blah. And so from that debate and from just countless other conversations I've had personally and that I've seen happening on the internet, I find, and tell me if I guess you've probably encountered these people a lot less because you are a woman, but I have personally met a lot of guys within pickup that are doing it in like from the frame of like hating women, essentially.
Oh my God. Yeah. I've been doing this for 12 years.
So you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. There's a lot of really angry people out there. And listen, I understand where it comes from. If they don't have the proper outlet for their anger, or they don't have somebody to talk to that can talk them down off that ledge and make them see potentially another way that they could do things, or another way to think about those things, I can understand how a lot of people could become extremely frustrated and angry with women, because if you act from a very self-conscious, uncomfortable, insecure place, you tend to put a lot of blame outwards and onto the other people that are around you. And you may not see your actions as clearly as they're happening. So you may be really angry, but you don't know that you're angry. And you go up and you approach a girl and you're talking to her, and she gets like a really creepy vibe from you because you're super angry at women, but you don't think that you're expressing that to her because you're saying nice things in your mind. But from her point of view, you're freaking angry. She becomes scared of you. And so she quickly figures out a way to get out of the conversation. And he walks away thinking, all I was doing was talking to this girl, and this bitch completely blew me off, talking to me like some big freakazoid. And it continues to build that anger up. So that's a long answer for your question. But yes, I encounter those people a lot. And I have different tactics for engaging those people. Sometimes if they're really angry, I tell them to go rant somewhere else and maybe find another resource that they'll be better suited for. Or sometimes I call them out on their anger and I say, yep, you're absolutely right. Women are horrible. Women are this, women are this. Then why are you contacting me? And they'll usually write back saying, oh, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry. I just want to vent to somebody. And then we can actually start having a conversation. Yeah.
The way that I've always kind of explained it, and it's because it's a major issue, and it's something that really needs to be talked about within our industry, because when you say the word pickup artist, the word pickup artist has such a negative connotation to it. And then it's like you meet a guy like Vince Calvin, right? We meet that guy and he's just a sweetheart. I mean, I've never met him personally, but I've seen all of his videos and stuff. And, so it's like, and I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't really call myself a pickup artist. I mean, I teach pickup, I do pickup, but I don't know. I think the word pickup artist is a little outdated at this point. But it has
like in the 90s. It's
yeah, it's overall just, self-development through success with women, through that conduit, I suppose. But it's something that really needs to be talked about, because I'm actually pretty open with a lot of girls who I meet. Like after a little while, like they'll ask me what I do, like straight up, and I'll be like, oh, I do like self-development, whatever. Like I run a self-development company and I teach guys success with women. And then I'll like really tell them, I'll like even show them a couple of my videos and things like that or whatever. And some people hate, the idea of pickup, and other people see the good that it can be and the good that it can do for people. And I think that what it is the guys who come at it from a frame of hating women, they're the ones that sort of ruin it for the entire industry. You know what I mean? Because these are the guys who they have, field reports, and they post all these videos online where they're like, and then
like that guy who grabbed a girl's head while in Australia, Julian, whatever his name is, from, because that's what the reference point is for a lot of.
He's my hero. He's my hero.
Is he really?
He's great. No, he's no.
I know. Listen, trust me. I know all those guys. I don't know him. I know and that's my age group, right? Of like the older school Canadian pickup artist people. So they're nice and kind and wonderful, but they have a lot of stuff out there when they weren't so nice and kind and wonderful. And there's a lot of great teachings underneath what they present, but a lot of their marketing, they try to, even Vince Calvin has very raunchy, extreme marketing, but the stuff he actually teaches is extremely fantastic and very self-helpy and like totally genuine and authentic. Listen, I don't like when anybody grabs someone's head, but if it's like in context and last night or 2 nights ago, I was out for dinner with Brad P. I don't know if you know who he is, but so
you guys just had him on the podcast, right?
Yeah, we just right. So we had him, I was at dinner with him, and he was telling this story about when he was on the road, because he's a musician as well. And he was talking about like how he learned how to sleep with girls within like 10 minutes. And he told me the whole routine that he'd do. And I was like, oh yeah, like I totally get that that would work. But if he passed that information on to somebody else without them practicing, without context, people wouldn't pull it off as well. But then he told his other story about how he met his girlfriend. So they had been, talking. He was selling t-shirts at the end of his show for his band. And she came up to him. They were talking for a little bit. And she said, well, what size do you think I am? What size would I wear? And he said, okay, I have a really good way of, measuring what size you would be. And he like literally grabbed her boobs and said, medium, right? And like, that would be great. But if you capture that with a camera really quickly, and then you put that everywhere, and this is what he's teaching men to do, is just grab women, then I understand how that can like send everybody into a tizzy.
Well, and that's it's cool that that's a good tie-in with what you were saying a few minutes ago about the guy who, when he's approaching the girls at the bar, and he thinks to himself, oh, what the hell? Why did that bitch blow me off? I was just being nice. I was being friendly. And so it's all like a big part of that kind of stuff is all in the sub-communications. So it's like, if Brad Pitt, he probably did that in such a funny, playful way. And they were like, the eye contact was probably like.
It was already there. She was already giving permission to do something.
Yeah.
And she even said afterwards, she's like, it caught my attention. She's like, I was kind of caught off guard, but I thought it was really bold that you did that. And it was funny.
Yeah, and the way that
that is funny.
The way that he carried himself, that like led to the success of that happening. Then you tell a guy through a video how to do that. He goes out to a bar and he's like, what size shirt do you need? And like he just goes to grab a girl. She's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like,
yeah, and it becomes misunderstood by so many people, and then you get banned from countries. I don't know much more about Julian. I didn't like what I saw. I know that I would not like it.
No, totally.
And that's playful. I don't like that.
Yeah. No, and that's, we're not here to talk about Julian Black.
But the rest of the stuff that they do teach, or a lot of the stuff, I do really like.
Have you met Tyler, just out of curiosity?
Yeah. Oh my God, a long time ago.
Oh, wow.
Met him a couple of times. Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. So now when you teach pickup to men, do you go out often? I don't know. Do you go out and do like your own kind of pickup, or I don't know. Or is it more of you like mastering the psyche of men?
It's more of like a virtual wing girl. So I don't really go out with people anymore. So initially it was myself and a wing girl, and we would be your wing girls. Like we would go out and pick up women for you and attract women. We'd start conversations with other women. We'd validate the other women in the room.
Yeah.
And what happened was when we were there, these men would just ask us questions and questions and questions, and like say, how do you know when that woman's flirting? How do you know she's not interested in me? How do you know she wants me to shut? Like, I was like, oh, well, there's really interesting information here that I didn't know that men didn't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a way for me to relay that or teach that information to men. So that's when I started writing a blog, and I started creating my own programs that men can do at home, rather than go out with me in person, because a lot of the information was pretty universal that I was sharing while I was out with these guys. And I thought, the truth is that if a man needs another woman to make him more attractive and to get women, then he's not really much of a man. So I don't consider myself a pickup artist. I'm an attraction expert. So I teach and tell men how to hit women's attraction buttons.
Okay. That's awesome. One of the things that you have available on winggirlmethod.com, I was looking at your website just yesterday, actually, and I thought this was so cool. And it's funny, because as I'm building Evolution Daily, I mean, I'm always brainstorming what I could be doing, how, ways to eventually monetize. And because the only way that I make money now is doing the live programs. I don't do anything with the internet yet. And I think it's so cool. And I'd love for you to like explain, so people can hear this. You do a mock-up date.
Yeah.
Like where you will like go on like a virtual date essentially.
Or in person. So we do the live dates in Los Angeles and in Toronto, because that's where I happen to have wing girls right now. And then we did have somebody in the UK and New York, but now I'm rehiring those places. But a lot of the people that we do work with do virtual dates with a wing girl, where for the first 15 minutes where you're Skyping with each other, it's as if you are on a date. And like even the lead up to the mock date, like guys have to set up a date, show how they text beforehand.
Wow.
And so they get feedback on all of those interactions and on their first impression is on a date. And granted, it's not 100% because it's over Skype, but my wing girls are pretty accurate at what they see. And most often what guys are doing in these mock sessions, they're doing in real life with women.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. I mean, there's gonna be a little difference there because they kind of know what they've signed up for, and so it's gonna be a little different. But overall, I mean, I feel as though I communicate kind of the same way like I am with you now, as I do with a friend, as I do with a coworker, with a girl at the bar, whatever. So, yeah, I just thought that was really cool, and I'd never really thought about doing something like that. That's awesome. So I want to kind of get into. I don't want to keep you on here too long, but I kind of want to get into like actionable sort of stuff here. So, so my question, so one of the things I really wanted to ask you about is the difference between, and this is an ongoing battle of good and evil. Okay. The difference between day game and night game. I want to ask you, how would you recommend that guys, because in my videos I talk about how my favorite place to do game is actually at the Kroger, which is a grocery store chain here in Ohio. Yeah. I love gaming in the Kroger, and I always am giving guys advice like how to open in the Kroger, how to like lead an interaction to getting the phone number. And I know it sounds crazy, but like I've had legitimate success from the Kroger.
Yeah, of course. The Whole Foods that I used to live across the street from, there was tons of like boot camps that would run through that whole.
Really?
Okay, so here is the difference between day game and night game. So night game, you kind of catch a woman off guard, right? She's not really prepared for a lot of the things that you're going to throw at her, like a pickup or some sort of flirting or interaction. So her guard's going to be down a little bit. It may be really up at first because she may be confused as to what's going on. But once you break through that barrier, her guard is much more down. When you're out at night, that's what most evening activities are all about. It's about flirting, meeting lots of guys. There's tons of options in front of her. She's dressed to the nines at that point. She's really happy with the way that she looks. So her guard is much higher up because there's a lot of people potentially coming after her at that point. So she has to be more selective. She has to ask more questions. She has to banter back with a lot of guys and see who these guys are that are approaching her. I don't like using the word test, but I'll say it for you so that men understand, like she's going to test men a lot more to see who they really are and what they have to offer. I honestly think that you have to approach it the same no matter what you're going into. Exactly like what you said before, where you were saying you're the same in every scenario. Like it's about being open, fun, playful, and ready for anything all the time. Because there are so many people that pass by everyone every single day. And most people don't capitalize on those opportunities, right? So the more open you can be in any situation you're in, the better. So if you're at a grocery store, it doesn't mean that every girl that you interact with has to result in a date or sex or whatever, but you're opening yourself up to all of these people that can lead to something else that's great. So either some girl who you're not really attracted to that you start chit-chatting with at a grocery store is going to make you look more attractive to the super hot girl that's walking down the aisle too, who afterwards you're going to turn to her and start a conversation. And then she's already sold on you because she's seen you being like, really, I don't want to say bubbly because it's like a female world, but being like really open and fun. And then she's going to think, oh, great. Anyway, it's like a whole domino effect. So even that girl who you're not attracted to could say, you know what, my girlfriends and I are having X, Y, and Z later. Why don't you bring your guy friends there? And then at that party, you can meet some of her girlfriends and they may be super hot and you might be really into them. Anyway, open your eyes. There's lots of opportunities around you.
Yeah, that's one thing that that's called like social proofing, right? So it's like if your actual target is the hot girl down the aisle, but then you start chatting this one up just so that way she can see that like you are socially calibrated, like you're socially adept, you kind of like know how to hold conversations and stuff, like then you're not just like that loner walking through the bar or whatever. And one
because like gearing up to approach her. Same thing when you're on a date. Like I think that most women will watch to see that your behavior is consistent. So you may be treating them like a queen, but if you treat the waiter or other people around you like an asshole, she knows you're an asshole.
Yeah, totally. Well, and another thing guys have to watch out for too is when you're in a smaller venue, I mean, you have to be careful about, I mean, I've had girls who will literally like text me the next day after, so I'll text them and I'll say like, hey, what's up? It was nice meeting you, whatever. And they'll be like, haha, I totally saw you try to pull what you pulled on me on like 4 other girls or whatever. So it's like you've got to almost walk this tightrope between, okay, I'm going to be social proofing, but then also like I can't let every girl in there see me approaching every single girl. But
no, why? That's not a bad thing. I think that's a really good response that you would get from a girl. So what would you write back or say to a girl who said that to you?
I honestly, my common response to that is like, ha ha ha, she was just my friend. And then, but sometimes they know though. Sometimes they just know that that's bullshit. But I'll always say that.
Oh, that's interesting. See, I would take a comment like that and go one level up. Be like, interesting that you're watching me throughout the entire evening. Did I make you jealous?
Oh, I like that.
Right? Because it's showing that you're unfazed. Like, yeah, I am hitting on girls. I am talking to girls. Girls like me. That's what I like right now.
That's what I'm about. Like,
that's what I'm about. I'm not a douchebag. I'm talking to people. Am I running the exact same line on them? Great. I'm trying things out. Like, you have to own whatever it is that you do.
Right.
Anytime that if a woman says anything to you, she's asking you from a place where she wants to know more about you, because she's saying, like, I like you. I want to figure out what you're about. So answer correctly, and we can go that step further.
Yeah, right? What was up with this one situation, and then rather than trying to like divert her or like do what I'm doing, which is like I said, I say like, oh, it was just a friend, haha, like what's up, whatever, and I try to like get away from it. I should just like, diving headfirst into that and being like,
and then you're like burying yourself. You're digging a hole. You're like, I did something wrong. You did nothing wrong. She's not your girlfriend. You don't owe her anything. But you can use it as a tool. Be like, that could have been you. Like,
yes, totally.
I have lots of options available. But if you're jealous, that makes me feel good.
Yeah, that's good. Now, do you talk to guys about making friends like at their local venues and things like that? Is that something that you?
Sure.
Yeah. Because I have a bar, so I live on Ohio State's campus in Columbus, and I have a bar that's just a block away from my house, and that is my spot. And I guess that the reason why I immediately default to telling the girls like, oh, it's just a friend of mine and stuff like that is because I'm trying to even like social proof myself even farther. And this bar for me it's a place that I go to where I have like, there's like girls at this bar that I've slept with, but I'm never like mean to them afterwards or anything like that. So they're like my friends now, and I have like even girls that I've approached and it didn't go well. They're my friends too. I'm friends with the dudes or whatever. And so I'll have a situation where I approach a girl who I've never met before, and then all of a sudden, as we're in a 5 to 10 minute conversation, guys are walking by. What's up, dude? How's it going? Girls are like, hey, blah, blah, blah. And I think that a lot of guys go into venues, and tell me if you agree with this or not, but I think a lot of guys go into venues with too much of a laser-like focus on, I'm doing pickup, I've got to find the targets, where are the girls, this is all I'm focused on. And because of that, I've seen guys who will go to the same venue over and over and over again and never make a single connection other than if they sleep with a girl. So do you coach guys on sort of establishing almost like a social circle within venues or?
Yeah, of course. Well, even separate from that, it's like to boost your confidence levels, right? And to get your social muscles working. So I always tell guys who I work with, if you're, let's say it's winter, you're going to a location to meet your friends, and maybe you're going to be picking up girls there, right? Like in your mind, you might think, maybe I'll meet somebody. I tell them if they're taking a taxi there, they're driving there, whatever it is, to park like 5 blocks away and then have the opportunity to talk to people while they're on their way in so that it can boost them up and they can get their social muscles working before they walk into the bar. It's just another way to like boost your confidence level, practice things on people that you may not see during the night. So yes, absolutely. Getting to know the places that you're going to will boost your value, your social value, because you're the guy who knows the bartender, which is always cool for anybody. It'll make you feel more comfortable and it will boost up your confidence levels. So there's like multiple reasons why it can be really helpful. I have this one friend who, when he was dating, he would take every girl to the same 3 locations. And he would do it because he knew the menu, he knew the people there, they liked him, they bantered with him, and he was very comfortable, right? So he knew
home court.
He wouldn't have other things coming at him that he wasn't prepared for.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about basically what you had said at the very beginning of the video. So you had told me that you didn't agree with a couple of the things that I'd said in my videos. I'm curious about what those things.
I forget what it was because when you first reached out, that's when I watched your video. It was something about like a line or things that you were saying to a girl where you were, I don't know, maybe you were like really crude and I didn't like it.
Okay.
I forget, but like everything up until when you said that, I was like, I liked you. I think you're really engaging and passionate, and you can tell that you really want to help, and you're also like very deep into what you're doing right now, which I think makes a really good teacher. Well, I can't remember exactly what it was. I'm sorry.
No, that's totally fine. And I get crude. Absolutely. One of the things that I teach guys is I tell them, I say that a lot of the times with pickup, you almost need to, so yeah, you have one facet, which is be yourself. Okay. That's one side of the field. Be yourself, be your absolute truest self or whatever. But oftentimes you also need to be able to adapt to different situations. And so one of the things that I do with my boot camp students is I have like a series of like 3 or 4 characters that I'll have them go into. And I tell them, go into an Oscar-worthy performance. You are now the Leonardo DiCaprio of this fucking character that I'm giving you. So I'll tell them, I want you to go up, like, I don't care if you're on fire right now, go up super shy, stutter over your words, and go in and just like, hey, my name's Aaron. It's really, really nice to meet you. You know what I mean? And then I'll have them go in and I'll have them do like super frat bro, douchebag kind of mode or whatever. And I do that with my pickup. And so, sometimes if you run into me into the field, you'll run into me the way that I was last night, which was I was just in a really chill, present mood, arms up on the brick wall. And I had like this hour-long conversation with this French girl where we're just talking about school and life and business and all this cool shit. And then other times I'll be like carrying a girl around the bar and telling people she's my daughter and like, that kind of ridiculous stuff. Of course, there's consent there, but
which is fun.
Yeah, and it's fun and it's crazy and it's wild and it's like, so you told me that earlier, and then you had said though that you liked my enthusiasm, and I really appreciated you saying that because, like I had said earlier on, I had mentioned to you that like pickup and getting to this point where I've created Evolution Daily and everything, it's all been like a massive self-development journey. Like I've just been, just doing all the fucking work, reading all the books, eating all the right foods, all that stuff. You know what self-development is, and one of the things that I've had to really force myself to be is more charismatic, more enthusiastic, and enthusiastic here being the key word of what I want to ask you next. And have a wider range of emotions and a wider range of expression. You know what I mean? So when you meet a guy, because a lot of guys in pickup, they're not fully self-developed yet. They're not where they want to be in life. They're taking their first steps. So I'm sure that you've sat down with a guy via Skype or in person or whatever, and you can just tell he's sort of a low talker. He's like a low talker. He does not have very much range of expression. He kind of is just, you can tell he's in his head. He's very self-conscious. So, I mean, what would you recommend to a guy who he knows that he needs to break out and like break free? Because this is something that I've struggled with in regards to how do I coach guys. I've told guys, I need you to get louder, bro. I need you to project your voice. I need you to be thinking more. But it almost seems like you have to do sort of, the exercises that Vince Kelfin does, which is breaking boards, walking on hot coals. I mean,
you can do the same thing by having dares out in the open.
Yeah.
Or, if they're really uncomfortable, you start off by just doing these dares in a group so that they can do it around people that they're comfortable around and then slowly build over time. So there's one guy, I forget what his name was, but he's like this big black dude, he was a doctor. We were in London doing a boot camp, and he's like 29 years old, and he was a very quiet talker, but he was a very big guy, and it just didn't match up, and he didn't really have very much of a presence, but he was like the sweetest guy ever, very intelligent, and wouldn't express himself unless he was asked about himself. And we were talking over dinner, and he said to me, I would love to be the guy that just dropped my trousers in the middle of the restaurant and then just walked up the stairs. I was like, okay, that's great, because that's who you're going to be by the time we leave this restaurant. And he's like, what? I'm like, that's who you're going to be. You're around friends right now. We're all going to applaud you. It's really safe. And if they, kick you out, then it's a story for you to tell afterwards. Every bad situation ends up being a great story. What better time to do it than now? And this is after we had like a day and a half together. And so he said, okay. And I said, I'll give you to the end of the meal. As soon as we finish paying the check, that's when you're going to do it. So we paid the check, and I said, okay, you got to go. And he said, all right, if I get arrested, you're bailing me out. So he did it. He stood up, he dropped trow, he walked in the restaurant, walked up the stairs. Nobody even looked at him, which I thought was crazy that nobody would even look at this big dude like with his pants down. He was wearing his boxers still, but still.
Yeah.
Okay. And he walked up to the top of the stairs and marched out of the restaurant. But at the top of the stairs by the bar, there was girls that were there who were there on like it's called a hen night, like a bachelorette party.
Okay.
There was like 6 girls that were there, and they came chasing out afterwards and said, what's going on? What are you guys doing? Like what's happening? And I swear to God, as soon as he walked out that door, it's like his confidence levels just changed, and he became this different person. He started flirting with the girls. They invited him to go out wherever they were going to. Him and a couple of the other guys from the boot camp ended up going out with them for the evening. And the next day he showed up, and he was Mr. Smooth. His voice was louder. His body motions were different. And I'm not saying that happens to every single person who drops their pants and walks out of a restaurant. But if you want to change those things about yourself, you have to take risks and do little things to boost your confidence. If you think that you're a low talker, try talking really freaking loud for the next week and see if people are bothered by it. If they're not, then maybe that's where your voice needs to be, because you were way too quiet before. Try saying things like, I want, more often. If you find that people don't listen to you or they don't value your opinion, start being more assertive with the things that you want. You just got to start practicing and trying. And that's mainly what I teach people to do. I don't have like a trick on how to suddenly boost your voice levels up or, get you to get over those fears, but doing it within a safe surrounding and then doing it on your own can really help.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the thing. There is no trick. With every area of life, people are always looking for that get rich quick pill. You know what I mean? People, that's what they say, get rich quick pill, And it's like there's not going to be an easy fix for it. But one of the things that I tell guys, it's cool because it sounds like you essentially told this guy the same thing, is I tell guys, like, do shit. So I have a video on my YouTube channel, and it's called How Facing Major Anxiety Can Help Your Minor Anxiety, right? And in that video, I basically tell guys, if you're terrified of approaching, then go do stand-up comedy. That's what I tell people. And it's because like my first 100 times on stage doing stand-up was literally just like me fighting away a panic attack. You know what I mean? Whereas, and then after a while you get more comfortable, and then you're able to actually harness your craft.
Yeah.
So
you also have to rethink the way that you're seeing things. So for me before, as I was, I was in plays when I was younger, and that feeling in my stomach, I used to take it as a sign, the butterflies in my stomach of going on stage, as a sign that I was going to fail or that I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But I learned slowly by doing it that sign was actually a sign that it was going to be a really great performance. So I had to reframe the way that I thought about things, but also put myself through different experiences to realize I'm not going to fail. And if I do, I can handle it.
Yeah. I heard
I have to get off in 2 minutes. I should have told you in the very beginning. But I'm gonna have to get off.
You're fine. Okay, no, that's cool. Okay, well, wait, do you have a boyfriend?
I have a husband.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You're married?
Yeah. I met my husband a month before I started my business, actually.
So he didn't start off as one of your students?
No, everybody asks that all the time, but I will say that He was a man that was very different than any other man I had ever met before.
Yeah.
And, in the beginning, he was my example of what worked. So it was really easy to relay that information to guys around me because I was going through being attracted to him while I was starting my business and capturing all this information.
Wow,
so he is
crazy.
the model of guys that I'm trying to mold and help.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. I think what you and I are doing is so important. I'm really impressed with what you've created, Marni. Honestly, I think it's incredible. I love your videos. I've watched almost all of your videos now.
Really? Oh God.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it's like you hear like the greatest musicians in the world, they still take drum lessons, they still take guitar lessons, and it's like I'm not going to shut off other people's content just because I want to teach my way. Like I think you have great content, and I'm for sure gonna always be recommending your stuff to the guys that I'm coaching and everything. So thanks for doing this. I mean, it's not really like.
Thank you.
I feel like I kind of flubbed up the intro. I wish I would have done all your plugs at the very beginning, but I don't have like a podcast or anything like that. So this was I wanted to just talk to you. So
no, this is perfect. I really enjoyed talking to you. So keep in touch, please. Let me know what goes on with your business and if I can help in any other way.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, great. All right. Well, hey, take care, Marni.
Okay, cool. How do I get out of this thing now?
You just got to hit the X up in your corner. So, hey, start blabbing. It's the future. I promise you.
Okay.
It really is. It's the next giant.
Can you record this?
I'm recording it right now. Yeah.
So on your end, in your account, you can record it.
As the host of the Blab, I hit start recording as soon as I asked you earlier if I could. And then it's going to say to me, now, would you like to upload to YouTube? And I'm just going to hit yeah. And then this is going to go straight to my YouTube channel. And I promise you, this thing is blowing up. I'm trying to become a Blab superstar. So.
Okay. Well, amazing. Cool. Well, okay. Nice talking to you. I will start blabbing.
Hey, take care, Marni. I'll be in touch.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Oh, it's still recording. Cool. Well, that was Marni and me, like Marley and me. That was fun. That was a good interview. I really, I like her. I feel like I flubbed up on the intro though. I mean, I wish I would have given her more of a plug, like given the website right away, things like that. But either way, I thought that it went pretty well. It was a good time. She's so cute. She's got so much to say to teach guys. It was a lot of fun talking to her. So check out her stuff. It's winggirlmethod.com. Her YouTube channel, the actual channel name, I believe, is let's see. I'm actually just gonna. I'm right here anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was a fun talk. So Marni Winggirl. Her YouTube channel is Marni Your Personal Winggirl. Or you can find her at Marni Kinrys, youtube.com/Marni Kinrys. That's MarniKinrys. Links will be in the description. So if you guys enjoyed that, be sure to subscribe to youtube.com/Evolution Daily. I'm sure you have already. Check out everything that I'm working on at evolutiondaily.com. And I'll see you guys in the field. Peace.